You ever used a computer that takes about 5 minutes just to open up a web browser? Or maybe you've upgraded to a solid state drive and suddenly felt like you brought home a brand new computer. Today we're going to be talking about why storage has such a huge impact on system performance. Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Sloth and welcome back to the Level Up series. In the last episode we explored how components connect together inside a computer, and today we're going to be focusing on the most important performance upgrade you can make to any system: storage. We'll cover hard disk drives, solid state drives, NVMe drives, RAID configurations, and I'll throw in some CompTIA A style questions, performance-based questions, and troubleshooting scenarios along the way. Storage is where your operating system, applications, documents, pictures, videos, and games live permanently. Unlike RAM, which actually loses its data when power is removed, storage keeps your data even after the computer shuts down. You can think of RAM as like your desk space and storage more so your filing cabinets. The larger and faster your storage system is, the more efficiently your computer can access information. So CompTIA A-style question you may see: a technician explains the difference between RAM and storage to a customer. Which statement best describes storage? Stores temporary data while programs are running. B, stores data permanently even when power is removed. C, increases processor speed. Or D, provides network connectivity. The correct answer is B, stores data permanently even when power is removed. Now, answer choice A, stores temporary data while programs are running. That's more RAM than storage. And the reason why we say choice B is the best description of storage is because it stores data permanently even when power is removed, whereas RAM doesn't. So just to kind of add a little bit of tweak to that answer choice B. Answer choice C would be correct if we were explaining what upgrading your CPU does. And then D, provides network connectivity. That's more of your NIC if we were installing a NIC onto your motherboard. Hard disk drives, or HDDs, have been around for decades. They use spinning magnetic platers and mechanical read and write heads to access data. Because hard disk drives contain moving parts, they're generally slower than newer storage technologies. However, they're still very commonly used when large amounts of data storage are needed with a much lower cost. Some examples are things like file servers, media libraries, or even backups. One advantage of hard disk drives is the cost per gigabyte. You can often buy several terabytes worth of hard disk storage for far less cost than a high-capacity SSD. Another CompTIA style question you may see: which characteristic is most commonly associated with traditional hard disk drives? A, no moving parts. B, using spinning magnetic platers. C, connectivity through PCIe lanes. Or D, required DDR5 memory. The answer is B, uses spinning magnetic platers. A, uses no moving parts, is more for the new solid state drives and NVMe. C, connects through PCIe lanes, would most commonly be associated with NVMe drives. And D, requires DDR5 memory, would probably be the most up-to-date. And D, required DDR5 memory, would most commonly be associated with a up-to-date motherboard. Probably the latest motherboard on the market would require DDR5 memory. Solid-state drives, or SSDs, use flash memory instead of moving parts. Because there are no mechanical components, SSDs are significantly faster, quieter, and much more reliable when it comes to storage. SSDs make applications open faster, makes your Windows boot faster, and makes games load faster. In many cases, upgrading from a hard disk drive to a solid-state drive provides a larger performance improvement than upgrading the CPU. Another CompTIA A-style question: a user wants most noticeable performance improvement on an older computer. Which upgrade would most likely help? A, a new monitor. B, an SSD upgrade. C, additional speakers. Or D, RGB lighting. The answer is D, RGB lighting. B, SSD upgrade. A new monitor wouldn't provide better performance, maybe better visuals for the user, but would do nothing to upgrade the performance. Additional speakers, also probably just a general quality of life improvement for the user. As well as D, RGB lighting, just another quality of life upgrade. Not all SSDs are created equal. SATA versus NVMe. Here we have a picture of SATA versus NVMe. SATA SSDs use the SATA interface, whereas NVMe SSDs use PCIe lanes directly through the motherboard. Because NVMe bypasses some of the bottlenecks of SATA, it can achieve dramatically higher speeds, which is why modern gaming PCs and workstations always use NVMe drives. Another CompTIA style question: which storage technology provides the highest throughput? A. Hard disk drive, B. SATA SSD, C. NVMe SSD, or D. DVD drive? The answer is C. NVMe SSD. One thing that confuses many beginners is the difference between M.2 and NVMe. M.2 simply describes the physical form factor, whereas NVMe describes the communication protocol. Many NVMe drives use the M.2 form factor, but not every M.2 drive is NVMe. Some M.2 drives still use SATA. So, if you have a CompTIA question that asks what does M.2 primarily describe? A. Storage protocol, B. RAID configuration, C. Physical drive form factor, or D. File system? The answer would be C. Physical drive form factor. Now, let's talk about RAID. RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks. RAID is a technology that combines multiple physical drives into a single logical storage system. Depending on the RAID level, the goal may be to increase performance, increase data redundancy, or even a combination of both. For the A+ exam, the 4 RAID levels that you should definitely know are RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, and RAID 10. RAID 0 is known as striping. RAID 0 focuses entirely on performance. Data is split or stripped across multiple drives. Because multiple drives are working at the same time, read and write speeds increase significantly. So, as an example, we've got 2 drives here, with drive 1 having file part A and file part C, and drive 2 having file part B and file part D. The downside to RAID 0 is that there's no redundancy, so if one drive fails, all data in the array is lost. As a summary, RAID 0 provides the fastest performance with no fault tolerance and no redundancy. The minimum drives that you need for RAID 0 are 2. Next up we have RAID 1, which offers mirroring. RAID 1 focuses on redundancy. Every piece of data written to one drive is copied to another. As an example, drive 1 has project.docx. Drive 2 also has project.docx. This way, if one drive fails, the other drive still contains an exact copy. This makes RAID 1 very reliable. As a summary, RAID 1 offers excellent redundancy and easy recovery. However, storage capacity is cut in half. The minimum amount of drives that you need for RAID 1 are 2. As an example, you would need 2 1TB drives. As a result, you only have 1 terabyte of usable storage. Think RAID 1 equals 1 copy mirrored to another drive. Next up is RAID 5, striping with parity. RAID 5 combines performance and fault tolerance. Data is striped across multiple drives, just like RAID 0. However, parity information is also stored. Parity allows the array to rebuild data if a single drive fails. As a summary, RAID 5 provides good performance, redundancy, efficient storage usage, but it is more complex. The minimum amount of drives that you need for RAID 5 are 3. For example, having 3 1TB drives. The result? Approximately 2 terabytes are usable. A good tip is that RAID 5 can survive 1 drive failure. Finally, RAID 10, which provides mirroring and striping. RAID 10 combines RAID 1 and RAID 0. You can think of RAID 10 as called RAID 1 plus 0. First, the data is mirrored, then the mirrors are stripped. This provides both high performance and high redundancy. RAID 10 provides excellent performance, excellent fault tolerance. It's common in business environments. However, it requires more drives and is more expensive. The minimum number of drives you need for RAID 10 are 4. As an example, with 4 1TB drives, you'd only have 2 terabytes of usable storage. A tip for the A+, RAID 10 is often considered the best balance between speed and protection. Here's a quick comparison table, comparing RAID 0, 1, 5, and 10, and the minimum drives that you need. Here's a CompTIA style question that you may see. A company wants the best combination of performance and redundancy for a critical database server. Which RAID level would best meet these requirements? A. RAID 0, B. RAID 1, C. RAID 5, or D. RAID 10? The answer is D. RAID 10. Now, there are some variants to this question that you may see, such as what the company wants the best combination of performance and redundancy at the least possible cost. Then your answer would probably be RAID 5, since it provides performance and redundancy at a cheaper cost than RAID 10. Another variation you may see is that the company doesn't care about performance and they simply want redundancy. Then you would go with RAID 1, since it provides redundancy, and that's all the company cares about. Here's a potential performance-based question that you may see. Match the requirement. Drag each requirement to the correct RAID level, where you've got the requirements for maximum performance, data mirroring, single drive fault tolerance, and performance and redundancy. Your options are RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, and RAID 10. For maximum performance, you would select RAID 0. For data mirroring, you would select RAID 1. For single drive fault tolerance, you would select RAID 5. For performance and redundancy, you would select RAID 10.
One of the most common recommendations IT professionals make is upgrading storage,
such as replacing hard drives with solid-state drives, adding an NVMe boot drive, or increasing storage capacity. These upgrades are relatively inexpensive and often provide immediate benefits. A question you may see on the exam: a user's PC takes several minutes to boot into Windows. Which recommendation would most likely improve startup time? A. Upgrade hard drive to solid-state drive. B. Replace the keyboard. C. Add speakers. Or D. Replace the monitor. The answer is A. Upgrade hard drive to solid-state drive. Since all the other are peripheral focused, such as replacing the keyboard, adding speakers, or replacing the monitor, they have absolutely no impact on performance. But you could possibly see some upgrades like upgrading the CPU, upgrading the RAM, or upgrading the graphics card. Since these would also somewhat help the startup time, they are viable answer choices. However, the question asks for the most likely improvement on startup times. So the biggest upgrade that you would see is going from a hard drive to a solid-state drive. Another potential answer choice you may see is upgrading from a solid-state drive to an NVMe SSD 4.0. The 4.0 and 5.0 NVMe SSDs are the most common or most modern options for upgrading to an NVMe drive. So if you were to go from a hard disk drive to an NVMe SSD 5.0, that would be the greatest leap in improvement. So knowing the different speeds would also be very beneficial for the A+ exam, since, like I said, a lot of these questions will also have similar variants. Some questions will have the same exact answer choices, but a very different question. So be careful on how you read the question and the answer choices. And that's also why I said in a previous video, understand all the answer choices and why each answer choice is incorrect or correct, so that whenever you face one of these variant questions, you'll know what the correct answer is based off of the question that's provided. Storage devices can fail just like any other component. Some common symptoms: a clicking hard drive, missing drive and BIOS, corrupted files, slow performance, SMART warnings. When dealing with storage problems, protecting the user's data should always be the priority. Another CompTIA A style question: a hard drive begins making repetitive clicking noises, and files are becoming inaccessible. What should the technician do first? A. Continue using the drive normally. B. Back up important data immediately. C. Increase the RAM. Or D. Update the monitor drivers. The answer is B. Back up important data immediately. Now, of course, everybody knows in hindsight, B is the most important option, backing up important data, and you want to do that on a day-to-day basis. But is that really commonly practiced? Not often. Nowadays, with cloud storage, data is always backed up, so we don't need to stress too much about our personal storage. But not everybody uses the cloud. Heck, even my own PC. I don't have my OneDrive signed in 24/7, so not all my data can be backed up to the cloud. So if my PC fails and I lose data, well, that's on me. Of course, also in the real world, there are other people who don't sync up with the cloud 24/7. and when they lose important files, they may be pretty upset. So you do need to be prepared on how to de-escalate situations with customers. Not necessarily for the A+ exam, but just for a real-world application. Now we have another potential performance-based question that you may see. In this scenario, a customer wants the fastest boot times, an operating system drive, and a 1TB capacity. Your available options are a 1TB hard drive, 1TB SATA SSD, a 1TB NVMe drive, and a Blu-ray drive. The student must select the best storage device or devices. And of course, with this performance-based question, there's only one good answer choice, the 1TB NVMe SSD. Sometimes CompTIA A may provide a multiple choice, a multiple selection question, where only one answer choice is correct, or even sometimes all the answer choices are. So do be prepared to answer some of these multiple selection questions. Now, let's say you're in an interview. A user says that their computer has become extremely slow over the last month. Applications take forever to open, and file transfers crawl. Walk me through how you would determine whether the issue is caused by a storage device. The expected discussions here are to 1. Check your task manager, 2. Review disk utilization, 3. Check smart health, 4. Verify available storage space, 5. Listen for hard drive failure sounds, and then finally, test drive performance. These are typical, step-by-step check and review that an interviewer would be looking for to make sure that you have the right troubleshooting mindset available for your help desk job rather. Now that we understand how storage impacts performance, the next step is learning how computers communicate with each other through networks. In the next episode, we'll dive into networking fundamentals, including IP addresses, routers, switches, DNS, DHCP, and Wi-Fi. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how many of today's questions that you got right. As always, keep leveling up, keep building those skills. I'll see you all in the next episode.